Okay, there you are, Cindy.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and shall I get started?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is Planning Commission Acting Chair Marco Lizarraga. And I would like to make clear for the record of this meeting, and it should be reflected in the minutes, that this Planning Commission meeting of March 3, 2022 will be conducted pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E. And at this point in time, I will ask our Commission Secretary, Cindy Norris, to please take over.
Great. Thank you very much. So I will go through the required text here that this meeting will be held via teleconference, and Planning Commission members will participate via teleconference. Those locations are not listed on the agenda and are not accessible to the public. The public's encouraged to listen to the Planning Commission meeting live on Woodland TV, channel 20, and also by going to the City of Woodland website at www.cityofwoodland.org/meetings. If you wish to make a comment during general public comment or on a specific agenda item, there are 3 ways to do that. First, members of the public are invited to leave a voicemail message at 530-661-5900. All voicemail messages received by 6:30 p.m. today will be played during the Planning Commission meeting as part of the record at the appropriate time. Second, any member of the public watching the live stream who wishes to make a comment on an item as it's being heard may submit an email to the following email address prior to the public comment on the item. That email address is planningcommissionmeetings@cityofwoodland.org. And Planning Commission meetings is all one word with no space. If you email, please include the agenda item in the subject line. Third, participate via Zoom. You will find a link to the Zoom webinar meeting in the Planning Commission agenda that is posted online. Click on the link to join the webinar. The webinar ID is listed on the web page as well. The webinar ID is 921-7009-5836. Or you may access Zoom via phone by dialing 669-900-6833. And then putting in the webinar ID, which is 921-7009-5836. Please note all comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes, and this includes voicemail messages and email comments submitted to be read into the record. So that concludes the introduction, and I think we are now into roll call.
Yes, and I'm going to ask you to please, Commissioner Secretary, go ahead and start the roll call.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioner Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Holt.
Present.
Commissioner Hurst.
Present.
Commissioner Lopez.
Present.
Commissioner McLaughlin. Now, he did indicate he was going to attend. Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Commissioner Lizarraga.
I'm here.
We have 6 members present to the meeting at this time. Thank you.
Madam Cindy, Commissioner McLaughlin is, I believe, in the standard attendees area. You may want to switch him over. Yep.
Right.
Doing that, taken care of right now.
So
there we go. I'm present.
Wonderful. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, I can't see everybody, but at any rate, what I'm going to now request is that each member of the commission respond to the following questions. Commissioner Harris, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Holt, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hurst, can you hear me well?
I can indeed.
Commissioner Lopez, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
And Commissioner McLaughlin, can you hear me well?
Yep, can hear you just fine.
Commissioner Smith, can you hear me well?
I can hear you well.
And I can hear myself very well. Okay, does each member of the commission have a copy of the agenda? Let me go through the names again. Commissioner Harris, do you have a copy of the agenda?
Yes.
Commissioner Holt.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hurst, do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, do you have a copy of the agenda?
I've read it. I'd have to try to bring it up on the other screen, but I have read it, and so it's available to me.
Commissioner McLaughlin, do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
I do.
Okay, Commissioner Smith, do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
I do.
Okay, next question is for Commissioner Secretary. Have you posted the agenda at a location reasonably accessible to the public?
Yes, we have.
Okay, let the record reflect, of course, that we have 7 commission members present for this teleconference, and they have indicated that they were able to hear the proceedings. Okay, I'm going to request that the city officials that are present introduce themselves and mention what their position is.
Thank you. Cindy Norris, Principal Planner.
Anna Canales, Assistant Planner.
Okay, well, thank you. Now, I'd like to acknowledge the person that makes this really possible to function as it functions, Mr. Dave Kimura, who is with the Information Technology Division, and it always does a great work and gives us a lot of help to carry on our meetings. Thank you very much. So, as we get to, I'm going to ask that you recognize before you speak, please. And second, that you don't interrupt another commissioner as they're speaking. I'd like to advise all commission members and the commission secretary that any vote taken during the teleconference portion of this meeting must be taken by roll call. We will now start by Commissioner Hertz. Would you like to lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance?
I can do that.
Please, thank you.
Please put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hertz. At this point in time, I'm going to ask each one of the commissioners to see if they want to make a statement or they have a request. And I will start with Commissioner Harris. Do you have a comment or a request?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Holt, do you have a comment or a request?
No, sir.
Commissioner Hurst?
I have neither.
Okay, Commissioner Lopez, comment or request?
Not at this time.
Okay, Commissioner McLaughlin, do you have a comment or a request?
Not this time. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Smith.
Sorry about that. 2 things. First, if the city could expand a little bit on the Bengalis florist demolition today, briefly. And also, I believe on March 1st, the city council approved a contract with the Lisa Wise Consulting for the comprehensive zoning code update. And I was wondering if there anything that need to be advanced on that today or at a future meeting. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. I don't have any comments or requests. Staff, do we have any comments or requests from you?
I will follow up on the 2 items under discussion. Yes, the project at the corner of southeast corner of West and Main Street, the old Bengalis, has been in for site plan and design review, and they have submitted a demolition request. There is a proposal for a Western Dental building that is under going review. As per the city's historic preservation ordinance, the item was brought before the Historic Preservation Commission for discussion, as well as a historic resource survey was conducted. The building was determined to not be significant for local listing, and therefore eligible for demolition. The owner did, however, make every effort to save there was some detailing that was on the building. They were like columns, kind of detail columns, and those items were saved and actually are stored temporarily here at the city. So the other item that has been significant with the review of that project is there is an existing tree on the site, and the applicant is making every effort in the site, making shifts and changes to the site plan in order to preserve that tree. So that's the status of that project. With regard to the comprehensive zoning code update, yes, we've just requested reallocation of some funds and a modified scope of work for the comprehensive zoning code update. We have had a contract with Lisa Weiss Consultant and have been working on the preliminary aspects related to the zoning code for that item. We have as part of the scope, have a very ambitious timeline built into that scope. And so, yes, we will be providing updates to the Planning Commission in the very near future as we start to really move forward on that project. And I'm very excited about it because we just, our existing zoning code is an older code. It's not comprehensive in its scope. And I think this code update will really benefit the city and will really help with development and review. And so anyway, that will be coming back to the commission here very soon. And that's it for my comments.
Mr. Chair, you are muted. You're muted. Sorry.
Thank you.
May I ask one question quickly, though?
Yes, please go ahead, Mr. Holt.
Just to follow up to the comprehensive zoning code update, are we still on track to go to kind of a form-based code as we talked about previously, or is it turning into something else? I know form-based codes are struggling a little bit as it pertains to multifamily housing and objective standards.
Yeah, that's something that have been actually in a lot of discussion about. And yes, the idea is that there will be some form-based where it is entirely appropriate. Form-based works well in certain areas, but it is not the type of where it's extremely prescriptive in terms of building types that are allowed. That is very limited. So we will use certain aspects, almost like the interim. The interim is actually almost a hybrid that encompasses some form-based concepts, and that will definitely be retained in the zoning ordinance. It is perhaps in the downtown where form-based, types of more prescriptive requirements would be more appropriate, possibly, when you're talking building envelope and that type of thing. So yes, and the code, as I said, is going to be far more comprehensive in terms of, dealing with special uses and many of the areas where we have, I guess I call it loopholes. So anyway, I'm pretty excited about it. We've been working on it. I'm looking forward to bringing it forward and having discussions with you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Okay, so let me go on now to subcommittee reports. Commissioner Harris?
No updates we have not had any subcommittee meetings.
Commissioner Holt?
None for me either, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I suppose the Commissioner Hurst?
No, the same thing.
Okay, I think Commissioner Lopez was in a arts committee, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we haven't had anything.
Okay,
that we're
fine.
notified of.
Thank you. I don't think that anybody else is involved in any other committee, except for once in a while I get involved myself. So at this point, this is an opportunity for a member of the public who wishes to speak on an item or concern that is not on the agenda. Okay, you may have 3 minutes to provide a comment. Is there any member of the public who has submitted an email or left voicemail for the general public staff?
We do have two emails. The first email actually is from an individual named Frank Reyes, and he does submit which I'll read into the record, an email for consideration by the Planning Commission. Should be under 3 minutes, I think. I'll read fast. So it says, hello, commissioners. I am writing for your consideration of transitioning the currently zoned neighborhood commercial in the Spring Lake specific plan area into neighborhood mixed use. Changing the zoning in this manner may provide incentive to developers to finally build something on the long vacant parcels as residential on top of a first or second floor commercial space will most likely provide immediate financial income since California is currently experiencing a severe housing shortage. I also ask that parking minimums be removed in these parcels to reduce costs because both parcels are extremely walkable for many residents in the area. And so pedestrian versus vehicle conflicts can be eliminated or greatly reduced. Thank you for your time, Frank Reyes. I just would like to make a brief note. I don't want to go into the detail, but the Spring Lake specific plan does allow residential on the upper floor already of commercial and neighborhood commercial.
Any other comments from the public?
The other one is the one that we've received for months on speed limits. So we've heard it.
Yeah, we've heard that many times. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Okay, so let us move on the agenda here. We don't have any minutes to approve at this point in time. So if there's no other things to discuss here, we'll move on to item I. And the first item on item 1.1, I.1, is by staff recommendation. I'm going to entertain a motion to move this item for the next meeting of March 17th, 2022.
This is Chris Holt. I will make that motion. Yep.
This is
Do I
Steve
have a
Harris.
second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Lopez, I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Holt made
Harris.
the motion to move the item to March 17th of 2022, and Commissioner Harris seconded the motion. Any discussions on the motion? There being none, I will ask for all those in favor of the motion to say aye. So I'm going to go through each one of you. Commissioner Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Holt,
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner McLaughlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
and I'm an aye too. So, okay, so we'll move that item for the next meeting of March the 17th. Okay, on the next item, for the tentative parcel map, item I.2, the first thing I'm going to do is ask for staff report on it.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. Anna Canales, Assistant Planner. The item before you tonight is a request by applicant Chelsea Investment Corporation for a tentative parcel map number 5220 to divide property for the purposes of financing and phasing for a previously approved development located at 310 West Main Street into two separate parcels consisting of 3.37 acres and 3.00 acres, respectively, in the City Quarter Mixed Use West Main Street Zone District. The underlying development was approved by ministerial approval on December 4th, 2020. The approved project includes a total of 168 units, 251,687 square feet of area, a density of 29 dwelling units per acre, and a total building area of 6,288 square feet. Here is a close-up of the parcel map. Taking a step back, the project site is located just north of West Main Street, south of Court Street, east of Ashley Avenue, and west of County Road 98. Subject property is vacant and is approximately 6.37 acres in size and has a frontage of roughly 620 feet along West Main Street and is 405 feet deep. The parcel currently has multifamily residential uses to the north, commercial uses to the south, and a mix of office uses to the east and commercial land uses to the west. In review of the proposed parcel map, staff found that the proposal is substantially consistent with the city's general plan, encouraging infill development, as well as the provision of the city's zoning ordinance and map act, provisions of the city zoning ordinance and map act. The proposed project is not deemed a covered project under the Yolo Habitat Conservancy's Habitat Conservation Plan and is categorically exempt under CEQA. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve Resolution PC 22-03 for the tentative parcel map along with the associated conditions of approval in your packet. This concludes staff's presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have. I believe the applicant is here as well if you have any questions for them. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go through each one of you fellow commissioners. So Commissioner Harris, do you have any questions or comments on the report?
I have no questions.
Commissioner Holt.
I do have a few questions for staff. I did email one of them over earlier to Anna, and I just wanted to kind of talk it through in the meeting here. I noticed that it's clear from the HCP and CCP requirements, which is basically the Habitat Conservancy conservation plan. If you guys will remember, in the conditions of some of our multifamily housing recently, in the last year and a half or so, it's required bringing in a biologist, and they have to do surveying of a certain distance from the property. And I was just wondering if you guys could explain how possibly we've shifted in the way that we look at these parcels, because this one is judged as exempt. It's much larger than some of the others that have had to have the biologist. And I was just wondering how we've come to that determination. That's question number one.
Actually,
go ahead, staff.
I'm happy to take an initial dive at this. First of all, projects that are not subject to CEQA that are ministerial are exempt from the Habitat Conservation Plan. So the original project approval for the 168 units is ministerial and therefore was exempt. In addition to that, the analysis of the land use cover, and Anna can maybe fill in on some of this, the analysis of the land use cover by the Habitat Conservancy has indicated that this parcel is considered developed land, that it's and not necessarily foraging land, and therefore they've determined that it is not subject to the fees that are required. However, we still are, on almost every project, we still include those conditions that require, prior to start of construction, monitoring for nesting, the Swainson hawk, as well as I believe there's a burrowing owl condition.
So you're saying, Cindy, that they are still required to bring in the biologist and do the survey, the nesting survey?
I believe that's a condition of approval on this, yes.
It is. And I was just wondering, just because I hadn't seen this particular language, the exemption language in the reports before. I know that this happened on, I believe it was Dave Snow's development at 3rd and Lincoln. And then there was another one that we approved maybe 4 months after that that had a similar requirement, the biologist. And so, okay, that makes sense then. And I think part of it also is the ministerial versus full planning commission hearing, because both of those other ones were full planning commission hearings. Okay.
That's very much so, yes.
I think that explains, that provides the right amount of information for me. My second question, which is more informational, doesn't have as much to do with the item. Is this a single-story development or is this a 2-story development? Do you guys know offhand?
I believe, let me confirm.
Perhaps
It's a multi-story development.
Okay, great, thanks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Holt and staff. So let's go to Commissioner Hurst.
The only question that I had was I noticed in some of the documentation that it said the condition for approving this would be that if phase 2 were not completed, it wouldn't negatively affect phase 1. And I guess if there's any explanation as to like why there might be a question of not completing phase 2. Yeah, if there's some explanation of that.
Yeah, I think anytime you split and this has happened, actually, this large lot parcel map, we've had to do this on almost a very large number of the affordable projects that we've had go forward. Part of it is usually the financing only covers a portion of the project. And so we at the city are nervous, even though it's likely that it will be funded, we still want to make sure that, let's say something happens and they can't get the funding to complete the second phase, that the project won't be left with incomplete infrastructure. And so the infrastructure has been conditioned such that should, for example, the phasing be delayed for a long time, or, somebody else purchases that, which actually occurred, I think the Sac Mutual project in Spring Lake, it was done in 2 different phases, and different architect did the second phase. But it was complete enough so that those living, in the first phase, that there was no problem for them with regard to utilities and infrastructure. And so that's the purpose.
Yeah, it seems like based on the fact that the clubhouse is there, the outdoor space is there, like it would be complete enough for phase 1 that I would not have any issues with it. So sounds good.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hurst. Commissioner Lopez.
No questions.
Commissioner McLaughlin.
Commissioner Hurst stole my question, so I'm left with nothing further. But I'm glad that there are more than one of us thinking through some of these and asking these questions. So. Okay,
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. Commissioner Hurst also took my question. I have no issue with the division of the property. I do have some questions about the organization or layout of the structure and such, which I can get into later.
Okay, I don't have any comments or questions.
If I might respond, at this time, we are not able to make changes to the layout and the site plan, which has been approved and actually received funding for. It's really the only purview has to do with the split of the lot.
Commissioner Lopez, excuse me. Commissioner Lizarraga, can I raise my 2 issues then?
This is Commissioner Smith. I can't see everybody.
Yes,
so,
it is. I apologize, sir. Commissioner Smith.
So you need the floor.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Go ahead.
The two things I was primarily concerned about was whether or not the fir tree that is on the southeast portion of the property is going to remain. There's no indication that it's going to stay there, and that tree is representative elsewhere and surrounding properties, but I can't tell if that's going to be there or not. The other aspects dealt with the access point driveways, if you will, primarily with the driveway or parking driveway on the northeast corner of the property, which seems very, very close to Court Street. And I was concerned about public access and public safety. My other concern, of course, would be dealing with the access and public safety with the driveways on, or the parking areas on the south side, exiting and entering on West Main Street. I was concerned about pedestrian crossing and such like that with given the traffic. But if there's nothing we can do about it, I don't know what possibility there is of changing anything at this point. Those are my concerns that I wanted to raise, sir.
And I'm happy, Anna, I don't know if you can move back to the site plan that shows the actual details of the layout. First and foremost, to answer your question, no, that tree is going to be removed as part of the development. It was not able to be saved due to the site layout and the, I think, the condition of the tree as well as, yeah. So with regard to the access, I just want to assure the commission, and when projects are reviewed, our traffic engineering division gets heavily involved in evaluation of these projects. The project does need to have multiple means of access, and actually the fact that there are several points of access, there's one on West Main, there's one to the north, there's also one off Ashley, should lessen the load somewhat on the main West Main Street project. But our engineering division was very involved in analysis of that driveway, making sure that it was situated correctly. We do need to allow access on Main Street as long as it's within a certain distance from any intersection. So, I just want to assure you that that was carefully looked at. I know Anna may have some additional thoughts. And I see that the applicant would like to respond as well.
Okay, please go ahead, applicant, and respond to this. Is the applicant present, Cindy?
I see that he has his hand raised.
Yeah, I can't see it. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Okay, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm Dave Davis with Chelsea Investment, and I'm the development manager. And I think I want to, if I would like to call Jim Smith tomorrow and understand all these concerns and items that he raises, because we want to build a project that's safe, and the last thing we want to do is have anybody hurt through traffic conditions. So, Mr. Smith, if it's okay, I'd like to call you tomorrow and discuss all these items. And if there's anything we can fix, we're certainly, open to doing that. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Not too sure about this one, but it was whatever changes would have to probably then come to the commission. Okay, I don't think Mr. Smith could really make a decision for the commission, Mr. Davis. Okay?
Right, but so, I just want to make sure I understand what his concerns are, that's all.
Okay, okay. Okay, then at this point, is there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? If not, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing, okay? Have we received any public comments by voicemail, email, or live call-in, staff?
We have not.
Okay. If there are no comments from the general public, then of course we had the applicant, Mr. Davis. Do you have any other comments to make while we're on the public hearing?
I do not. I just want to thank staff and appreciate the City of Woodland's help. I know we're on some very tight deadlines and we're all working through that. And I will be up there in about 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to meeting some more, the city manager and some other people and keep coordinating. And we're going to do everything we can to get this project built. Regarding phase 2, I would say there's a 100% chance we're going to build it. The only thing that moves sometimes is the deadline on that, because as you know, these applications and funding for affordable housing is very competitive, and we apply and apply and apply, and Chelsea, thank goodness, is very successful, like 95% of the time, but we don't always win. So sometimes when we don't, we got to reapply, 6 months later, but I'm 100% positive we're going to build phase 2, but as Cindy Norris says, things do come up and things we can't control, but we have every intention of building phase 1 and 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if there are no other comments during the public hearing, I'm going to go ahead and close it. Okay, so the public hearing is closed. Do any planning commissioners have additional comments on this subject?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Smith.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. For Mr. Davies, yes, I'm certainly happy. Or Mr. Davis, I'm sorry. I'm certainly happy to meet and talk with him about my concerns. Let me state, though, that the process in this, while I'm highly supportive of the project itself, I was concerned when this was approved by the City Council for funding purposes and basically sidestepped the commission and didn't give us any input into the design configuration of the project itself. It's not that I object to the project. I just think that it went to the City Council first when it should have come to the commission first. But that's the end of my statement on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner Lizarraga, may I respond to?
Yes, please do.
I'd like to explain. So that actually the fact that this project did not come before the Planning Commission is by design. And the reason is that the city is responding to state requirements in which we are being encouraged to facilitate and streamline housing development. And in particular, in a number of areas where the project, multifamily housing is allowed, where the project meets the objective design standards that have been included in the zoning ordinance, the project is allowed, is considered ministerial, does not require discretionary review, and the intent is to streamline housing projects. And so this is one of actually, I think, our first project coming forward, utilizing the objective design standards that we've got in the interim zoning ordinance. We actually have several others that are moving forward. And actually, I misspoke. There's another one that's been approved on East Street. So we are following the requirements that the state has asked of us to facilitate housing development, to streamline it, to, but we still, the objective design standards, do still address, design. And of course, public safety is evaluated. They go through the same thorough review process. But as I said, it is actually by design. And the only reason that this one came before City Council was because they're asking for not only are they seeking, not only have they sought grant funding, but they're seeking city inclusion of money from our housing trust fund. And I will say that actually the first applicant who worked with us on this project was a different applicant. And they had intended for this to be a market rate project with partial affordability requirements. Chelsea Investment has purchased the property, and this property will be a 100% affordable housing development. And so anyway, that's just some explanation. And the comprehensive zoning code, the intent will be to even further these streamlining provisions to the extent possible, in particular with regard to housing, to meet our housing obligations that are imposed by the state. So, and we'll be talking about that further when the housing element comes back to the Planning Commission in the next couple of months. So anyway.
Thank you very much, Cindy. Appreciate your comments, and thank you, Mr. Smith. So if there are no more comments from any other commissioners.
Mr. Acting Chair, if I may.
Is that
This is Chris Holt. Sorry, Mr. Holt. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay, yeah, I can't see everybody, so to say your name when you speak, okay, in case your image is not in front of me. So go ahead, Commissioner Holt.
Yeah, and I share some of Commissioner Smith's concerns, but I also recognize, and in the last couple of years, we've had a few conversations regarding objective and subjective standards, and the laws that were put into place that basically removed that capability to have oversight on design elements within specifically multifamily housing projects from most boards and commissions at the municipal level. However, I do highly support more affordable housing, especially in Woodland. We've always struggled with that. And this is a great sized parcel to have some good affordable housing on. I do wish it had a little more design to the site layout, but that's out of our hands. But I am very hopeful to see these units come online and to increase our housing affordability across the city, as well as reaching some of our RENA goals, I'm sure, in the housing element, which most communities struggle to meet. So this is a good thing for the city to check off of our list.
Thank you, Commissioner. I guess I could make a comment, Mr. Chair, which is, I just thought it was interesting. Back in 1994 was my first time that I ran across Chelsea in Calexico, California, down in the desert, and they did a development for senior housing and low income. It was actually very good, and it's still serving our community in Calexico. So I'm very hopeful they're going to do the same thing for us here in Woodland. Okay, so let's move on. I think at this point in time, the chair is ready to entertain a motion for the adoption of the resolution recommended by staff, which is PC 22-03.
Sir, Mr. Acting Chair, this is Commissioner Holt. I would like to make that motion. I move to adopt resolution number PC 22-03 in support of the tentative parcel map number 5220 for the division of the property for the purpose of phasing located at 310 West Main Street into two separate parcels consisting of 3.37 acres and 3.00 acres, respectively, in the city corridor mixed-use West Main Street zone.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Smith, I would second that motion.
Okay. Commissioner Holt made the motion to adopt the resolution, and Commissioner Smith seconds the motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? If not, okay, let me go through each one of you. Commissioner Harris.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Holt.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
And Commissioner McLaughlin.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Me. It's irrelevant because we have a unanimous decision, okay? So anyway, well, the motion is definitely passed, as stated. And I guess we're through with this item. Now we really come to the exciting item of the night. Okay. We're going to go to item J3, which is we're being recommended that we hold elections of the commission. This is one thing that I've never done before. Okay. So let's start by opening nominations for the first position, which is the chair of the commission. Okay, so
Commissioner
open
Lopez.
for nominations. Anybody?
I make the recommendation that Marco Cesar Lizarraga remain as chair.
Okay, two. Any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Fred Lopez, second chair.
Oh, let's go through one position at a time. Right now, we're dealing with the chair.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, so one of the first things that we need to do is to see if the nominated accepts the nomination. So I'm going to keep you in suspense for a little while. I accept the nomination. Okay. So let's see. What is the? I'm going to go through each one at a time. Okay. So at this point in time, we have only one nomination, and I'm honored to have been nominated. And I do accept the nomination. Okay. So I guess we can call for the vote now. Is that correct, Cindy?
Yes, that would be correct.
So,
Although with no additional nominations, I don't know that we need to vote.
Yes,
I
it's
guess
part of the Robert's Rules of Order that we have to go through the
Yeah.
to complete the motions. Okay. So all those in favor of the nomination, we're going
Would
to.
you like me to read the roll?
I'm going to do it by roll. Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner McLaughlin,
Hi.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
and I don't need to vote for myself. Okay, so thank you, fellow commissioners. I'm honored, and I think we have a great, members in the commission. And I'm really excited about this commission, to be honest. Moving forward, I think we have great members, and welcoming Mr. McLaughlin, which will be a great addition to our commission. Thank you. So now let's continue on with the nominations. Now we're going to have nominations for the vice chair. Okay. So the floor is open for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Jim Smith as vice chair.
Okay. Mr. Jim Smith, do you accept the nomination?
I thank thanks, Commissioner, for it, but at this time I do not feel prepared enough to accept the nomination and decline.
Do we have any other nominations?
Steve Harris, I would recommend Fred Lopez.
Okay. Mr. Fred Lopez, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I need to come out of my comfort zone. I've been on here for almost 14 years, so I think I have the experience necessary. So yes, I'll accept the nomination.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? Okay. Given that I don't hear anybody else nominating anybody else, we're going to have to vote on the nomination for vice chair. And Mr. Fred Lopez has been nominated by Mr. Commissioner Harris. So all those in favor of the nominated candidate, we're going to go through each one of you. Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez. You vote for yourself? You can do that.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner McLaughlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
and of course, mine is an aye too. But, you know, one of the things that I like to say is that, you know, we have a commissioners or members of the commission, all of them, I've been here for 10 years too already. And I'm so excited about the caliber of the commissioners we have now that any one of you could be the chair or the vice chair. You know, you are also very talented and very dedicated to serving our community, and that's one of the things that it takes. So thank you very much. I'm honored, and welcome aboard, Mr. Lopez, Commissioner Lopez. And with that, I think it's getting late. It's my bedtime, so. So go
I'm
ahead.
sorry,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Commissioner, may I ask, or Mr. Chair, may I ask a question of staff just as we wrap up?
Of course, of course.
Thank you, sir. This is Chris Holt, by the way. I forgot to identify myself.
You know who you are.
Cindy, do we have any timeline on returning to in-person meetings? I love seeing the Brady Bunch squares, but man, I want to sit next to you guys, you know, for the first time in 2 years. Is there any kind of update or timeline that
You promise not to pinch me.
I would not. I would never.
Well, actually, I'm glad you
Don't
asked
slap
that.
me. Don't slap me. But
I don't promise that I won't do that.
I totally agree, Mr. Holt. I'm really dying to go back and be with you guys in person. You know, I really miss that. I think it would be wonderful. I think the city council is going back to live meetings, if I'm correct,
In April.
in April.
So once the council goes back, they'll see how it goes, and then commissions will follow.
Oh, okay, so they're going to be our guinea pigs. We're going to use them first. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
They have to
Any
make sure
other-
all the AV works, all the cameras and the projectors and all that stuff. We've been doing that for so long. Who knows?
So any other comments? Commissioner Harris, any comments?
I have none at this time.
Commissioner Hurst?
Are we scrambling the subcommittees? Are we holding those steady?
Right now, I think we're going to keep the committees as they are. And I think Mr. Lopez is in the Arts Committee. I think Mr. Holt does a wonderful job in the Architecture Committee. And of course, you and Harris are on the Cannabis Committee, which is great. We've got to find a room for somebody else like Mr. Smith, and I'll work on that, okay?
Who, I'm on the Business
okay.
Park and Tech. And who else is on that committee? It's been so long
Which-
since we've met.
I'm sorry, Mr. Harris. You're in the
Tech.
committee. You're in what committee? Besides the cannabis?
The Business and Technology.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about that one.
So
Okay.
I'm on it. And I think someone else is. It might have been,
I believe it was me, sir, Commissioner Harris. I think it's me. It was me, you, and Commissioner Wells, I believe.
yes. So
Let
with
me
that
do
met-
something. Let me review the committees and the structures with staff. And by the next meeting, I'll have something on it and maybe some appointments if we need to. Okay, Commissioner Hurst, is that okay?
I don't want to mess anything up. I just was wondering if we were getting
No,
shuffled.
you're not going to, but you know, it's a good reminder. Thank you. Anyway, Commissioner Lopez, anything?
Yeah, just anytime anybody can give me some information on how to run everything correctly. I don't want to make any mistakes. So anyway, somebody has.
I'll tell you where to go on the website. I'll tutor you on that. I'll tutor you.
And you are correct. I feel that the Planning Commission over the years has evolved into a very functional body of people that had the interest of the city at heart, and try to work with all the departments to make sure that, you know, we alleviate some of the pressure on the city council by running like interference a little bit for them with everything so that they don't get overwhelmed. They have a tough enough job already. So I would just like to thank staff for all the work that they've done over the years on all the many projects that have come before us. That we've enjoyed doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner Lopez. Commissioner McLaughlin, any comments?
Nothing from me. I'll let you get to bed.
Okay, I got to go through one more. Commissioner Smith, you get one more chance.
Nothing for me either, but I'll see you working out tomorrow at InShape.
I'll be there very early in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, well, listen, then the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Jim
That
Smith.
was- Oh, Jim Smith. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Smith made the motion.
Commissioner Lopez will second that.
Commissioner Lopez seconds the motion to adjourn. Any discussions on the motion? No. So all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Harris.
Oh,
I have to go through each one, one at a time. Commissioner Holt.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner McLaughlin.
aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
And I agree with all of you. And I'm sorry that I have to do this, but it's part of the requirements on the virtual meetings that I have to go through each one of you on the voting. Okay, so the meeting is adjourned. And thank you so much. I'm honored to be with you, and it's a great honor. Mr. Smith, see you at 5:30 in the morning.
Gotcha.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Dose.
Good night.